So today in this tutorial, we are going to continue adding CSS to our HTML web layout. So how to do that? First, let's go and create a folder. Inside the folder of our HTML web tutorial, the folder where you saved your tutorial, okay? So go in there and create a new folder. So that folder, we are going to call it img. It's going to be the image folder where we will save the image that we are going to work with, okay? So after that is done, we are going to head over to a website where we will download the free photos we are going to use for this tutorial. And mind you, if you're creating a website or even in your social media account, most of the pictures you download from internet and post on your social media or use in creating your website has already been tagged with copyright license. There is a website where you can go to and download free pictures and free videos for your social media account or for your website designing or for anything you want to do. You can use it for personal purpose or for commercial purposes, okay? And the website is Pixabay. As you can see, we are here now. So once the website opens, let's just go and search for any photo we want to use for this tutorial. Let me just go and search for, let's say, tropical. Let's say tropical beach. So maybe I choose this one. Very nice picture. So you choose it, you download it for free from here. You choose the size of the image you want to download. Then you click on download. Then check this that you're not a robot. Then click on download. So you will see the image will be downloaded to your computer. So now that the image has been downloaded, so what we are going to do now, we are going to head over to the download folder. So now I'm going to drag this image that we have just downloaded and insert it, put it inside the img folder we just created now, okay? So now I will go inside the img folder. Then change the name. Let me say I will call it tropical. Okay? So for example, if that is the name of the photo. Now that we have been able to download the photo we are going to use for the tutorial, and we have been able to save it in the folder we created in our root folder. So now we are going to include that photo we downloaded from that website and saved in a folder inside the root of our folder, which is in img folder. So how do we insert that picture into our HTML? To do that, you bring your mouse under this H1. So you type lesser than img. You give space. You type sroc. You type equals to. Then you type double quotes. Then remember that the picture we downloaded from the internet, that we saved it in a folder, and that folder is called img. So now you're going to write img. Then you put a slash. Then you write the name of that photo. Remember, I gave it name as tropical. So I'm going to write tropical. Then give a double quote to close it. Then here we are going to give a space and write alt and give equals to, then double quotes. So pay attention, this alt, it is very necessary that you add alt because it represents the blind people. When they come across this place, they will be able to read it through alt that the name of that image is so or whatever, the name of whatever that is in that particular place is this or that. So I'm going to give it that same name I gave it, which is tropical. So you close it with double quotes. Then give a space. We are going to give it height and width. So let me start from width. So you're going to declare it this way. Width equals to double quotes, 100%. And give it double quote to close it. Then give it a height equals to double quote 400 pixels. Then double quote to close it and the greater than to close it. There is something we need to add here at the head of our website. We are going to include what we call meta chassis. It is one of the encoding UTF code of HTML5. So how to do it is here on the head. You type in lesser than meta then give a space, then write chassis equals to double quote, capital letter UTF dash 8 and close with double quotes, and also close it finally with greater than. So whenever you are declaring your HTML document, this meta chassis must be there in as long as you're using the new version of HTML, which is HTML5. The second thing I'm going to add is another code that will help this our HTML structure to be scaled very good on mobile devices, okay? Because once you are creating a website these days, you have to first of all think of mobile. So to think of mobile is by adding that code, but it doesn't end there all. There are other code you need to include to make it stand out, okay? So, but first, let's go and add this code. I'm going to add it directly under the meta chassis declaration. So I'm going to say lesser than meta, one tab space, then name equals to double quotes, viewport, close with double quotes, one tab space, content equals to double quotes, width equals to device dash width, comma, one tab space, you write initial dash scale equals to 1.0, then close with double quotes, then finally close with greater than. So this code is telling the computer that whenever the content of this website is opened on mobile devices, that it should scale it to fit the width of the screen of the mobile device. So now we are going to continue to display this photo on our header. We are going to first of all save this code and refresh our browser to see if our picture, the picture we added to this header, has been inserted into our browser. So, but before this photo will be displayed on our web browser, on our homepage, there is one important thing that we need to add, and sometimes people make mistake with that, and that is, if you remember that the name of the photo we added is tropical. So, and the photo have an extension. Extension can be JPEG, PNG, or whatever. Or so how to do that is you come directly at the back of this tropical. You add .jpeg. If it's PNG, you add .png. So if it's whatever format extension of picture it is, you add the needed extension format at the back of the name of the photo, okay? So now that we have added it, let's save our code and refresh the browser and see if our photo will display on our home page, okay? So I tap on Ctrl Save to save my code. Then let me head over to the browser and refresh it. So you can see, so now that our header photo has taken a shape, let's continue with structuring our navigation pages. So to start adding CSS to your HTML code, you need to first of all declare it. You add this code, lesser than style. You come down, you close the style, lesser than slash style and greater than. So inside this enclosure of this style is where we will be adding our CSS commands to be able to add more style sheets to our page. So we are going to begin with styling our navigation menu. So let's first of all give this navigation menu a class or an ID. So to do that is you come into the enclosure of this nav, then you give it one tab space, then you give it a class name or an ID. So to declare a class, this is the way you declare a class. To declare an ID, this is the way you declare an ID. So but we are going to start with class. So let me declare the class. So this is the class equals to double quotes. I give it a name, navigation, or I just call it nav. Give it a and the double quotes to close it. So now we have given it a class name, which is nav. So with that now, we can be able to target it from the CSS style. So to target a class from CSS code command is that you declare it this way, dot, you write the name, which is nav, then open it with this bracket, come down here, then close it with the bracket. Now we are going to target this nav to add a background to it. So this is how to add a background. Background dash color. Let's say I give it a background color of gray, then close it with this, then come back here, give it a width of 100%, close it, come down here, give it a height of, let's say, 80 pixels, close it. So let's save this and refresh our browser to see how our navigation menu looks, okay? So I save it, I refresh the browser. So now you can see that the navigation menu has adopted the gray color background we gave it, okay? So let's continue to style the navigation menu to style it the way it's supposed to be so that these pages will be lined after each other, okay? So now we go back to our code. So now I'm going to target our unordered list, which we have given a class name of unordered list. So I will go by it this way. I will say unordered list, brackets, give a space, close my brackets, then come at the center of the enclosure. Then I will first of all say display inline flex. And secondly, I will say list style type none. I close it. I come down here, I target the LOI list item. So I will target it this way, LOI, then bracket, close my brackets, come at the center of the enclosure, then I will add padding of 10 pixels, close it. Then if you refresh now and go back, let's see how it looks like on our browser. So this is the stage we have gotten to. Let me explain what I have done here. So here, this first declaration, I said display inline flex to make it line up like this. So list style type none, because there was a black dot at the back of each page here. So to come down here at the unordered list item tag section, I gave it a padding of 10 pixels. That is why you see a space here at the front, under it, and at the both side of it as well. So I want to be able to align our pages to be at the center of the navigation page. So this time around, I can be able to add it here in the unordered list section. I can say like if I want this thing to float to go to the right side, I can say, okay, float right. So if I refresh it now, you will see that it will be floated to the right side of the web browser. But I want to be able to, I don't want to use this float style. I want to be able to use inline CSS. So I'm going to come down to here and add CSS to this so that it can be able to be placed at the center of my nav container. So to do that, I'm going to place this whole code in a div container. So you've not heard of this one. This is another HTML tag called div. It is also like a container. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to declare lesser than div, close it with greater than, come under here, give it lesser than / div and close it with greater than. Then you can see I placed this inside of here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to move all these things so that this thing will be easy to read. Why I'm giving this space is that it will be easy to read, okay? So you place it normal so that whenever somebody comes across where you write a computer code, where you write your HTML or programming languages, you will see the structure and understand how you structured everything, okay? So this is how it should be structured. So now you can see that all these unordered list tag and list items inside it has been placed inside this div. So I'm going to, in this div now, so I'm going to say align equals to double quotes center and close with double quotes. So now if you refresh it, you see that the navigation pages has been placed at the center of the navigation tag. So now let's move ahead. I want to be able to target this our footer to place it the way it's supposed to be, because the footer has to be the last thing you see in a page, and it's supposed to be under every other section. Every content your website is containing, that footer has to be under every content in every page. Is the same thing, okay? So the footer still has not been declared and separated from others. So now I'm going to target it with our CSS. So before I do that, let me give it a class name, or maybe this time around I'm going to give it an ID. So to do that, you give a tab space, you write ID equals to double quote. So let me say the name is going to still be footer. So I give it double quote to close it. So I'm going to go over to CSS now to be able to target this footer, okay? So that this footer will be under every other content in our website. So how to do that is, let me come over to here and target it and say, so remember I gave it an ID, not a class. So to be able to target an ID from your CSS style sheet is to be declared this way. Watch out, first hash. Remember the class was started with a dot sign, but in ID, it has to be started with hash sign. So after the hash, you put the name of the ID, which is footer, then brackets, come down and close your brackets. So I'm going to place this here for a better structure. So I'm going to come inside the enclose of that footer ID, and they say now, and they target the ID to say, let's say background color. Maybe I give it a black color, okay? Then I come down, I say width 100%. Then I give it, let me say, a height of 60 pixels. Close it. So let's go over, let's save our code and go over to refresh our browser to see how it is. So go and refresh the browser. So you can see that we have given our footer a height and width. There was a paragraph there that says this is my footer, but because the paragraph is in black color, that is why it cannot be displayed here. So for us to target the text and change the color is, we here in the footer section, we just write only color. So that color means we are targeting the text color. That is the way you write it here in CSS. So let's say I will say the color has to be white. Then close it, refresh it, you go back, you see the color is now white. So, but if you watch around this our web page, there is a white space around all this. So that is why you see that the footer cannot be able to be extended to the end of the browser, okay? So now we are going to target that area. And how do we target there? I'm going to go over here and say target the body of our HTML. So I'm going to say body brackets, come and close my brackets, come here at the center of the enclosure of the body and say margin 0, padding 0. Okay, then save it and refresh the browser. You will see that the space has been cleared. Well, the next thing we are going to do is to be able to target this our aside tag, to place it by the right side as it is supposed to be, okay? So I'm going to go over to, before I do that, let me first of all add a class to this our aside. I add a class equals to double quotes, I call it aside, or let me say I call it side bar. Okay, then go over to my CSS section to be able to target this sidebar. So let me say I'm going to place the code over here. So remember that I gave it a class name, so it has to be started with dots, not like ID. Okay, now that I have put in the dots, so I'm going to go ahead and type in the name of the class, which is sidebar, then brackets, come down here and close my brackets. Okay, so after that I come at the center of the enclosure of the sidebar. So now I'm going to target it. I will first of all give it a height of, let's say, 600 pixels. Let's give it a width of 300 pixels. Give it a background. Let me give it a background color of brown. Okay, so save your code and refresh the browser. Let's see how it goes. So you can see the aside here with the brown background, but the aside has to be placed by the right side of the web page. So I'm going to go back to the aside tag here on our HTML. Then I'm going to place it inside a div. So I'm going to say div. Then I give this a space to be able to be structured well. Okay, so I'm going to give the div, close the div. I'm going to close the div slash div, close with greater than. Then on that div, I'm going to say style equals to float right and close with double quotes. So save your code and refresh the browser. Let's see if it has gone to the right side. So you can see now that it has been floated to the right side of our web page, but there is something wrong here, and that thing that is wrong is the footer. Like I explained, the footer is supposed to be the last thing you see on every web page. It should be the last beneath thing you see on every web page. But here you can see that the footer is now placed at the center because there is one code we are missing. How to correct this is that we have to go to the footer section here on our style sheet. So here is the footer section. So I'm going to add one code that will make this footer to be cleared under this web page, so that anything you're adding onto your web page, it will be above, it will be on top of the footer, while the footer remains the last thing you see beneath every web page. So look at the code I'm going to add there now. I will come here in the footer. I will say clear boots. That is the code I'm going to write that will do the magic. So save your code, refresh the browser. You will now see that the footer has been cleared and added under our content. Okay, so guys, so this is it for today's tutorial. I'm going to stop this CSS HTML tutorial today here, and in the next tutorial I'm going to continue from where we stopped today to be able to structure our article and the section and all this aside. I will be able to structure it well, and I can be able to also add a link to our web pages, so that it can be able to be clickable. Okay, so thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please let me see your comments in the comment section, because those comments boost my morale to be able to go ahead and create more content like this. Okay, if you're new here or you're coming across my platform for the first time, you're coming across my channel for the first time, please don't hesitate to click on the subscribe button to subscribe to this channel, and click on the bell icon to be notified anytime I upload tutorials like this. Okay, so until then, thank you for watching and see you in the next videos. Bye.